pre-eliminations and a last chance qualifier, along with the bracket stage now in the finals in the EGFC Power Series. We've reached the grand finals. I'm Time to Light. That right there is Tenric. Butler University taking on DePaul University. I have to say, I don't know who to favor. Butler walking straight through the semi and quarterfinals. DePaul doing the exact same without losing that many rounds at all. Tenric, I'm going to ask you right now. I want a prediction.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't have to be right. I just want to know.
Look, you know what? Both of these teams have been so irreparably dominant throughout this entire bracket stage, throughout whatever seasons they've played in, throughout whatever qualifiers and brackets and whatever they've had to get through. They have gotten through it so easily. DePaul and Butler, unstoppable forces throughout all of these streams. You guys have seen it just as much as we have at this stage, but I think DePaul just may be a little bit more unstoppable. I gotta give it to DePaul, and you know what? I'll commit to it. I'll say DePaul 2-0s.
Oh, I'm gonna go Butler 2-1 because of our map pool. Speaking of our map pool, let's take a look over at where we head. Bind map number 1. I think Butler have this. That's my real gripe with this one. Now, we were taking a look through the map bans just to wrap things up. DePaul picked Bind, which I don't think is a map that particularly favors their overall playstyle. Icebox was picked up by Butler, and then Haven was left over with Butler starting on the defensive side. If we make it to Haven, Butler win. If we don't, and DePaul win the first two, then, well, obviously DePaul are going to take it. But if Butler pick up either of the first two maps, I think they win on Haven.
I actually don't hate that take. I think Butler will be very strong on Haven. They have been so consistently so far, so wouldn't be surprised if we see them get that far. Bind, certainly a different map and a different comp called for it than what we've seen a lot on these streams, aka a lot of Haven and a lot of Ascent tonight. And so I'm wondering how these comps are going to change. Mayhaps a Viper entering the fray. A Raze is getting hovered over by Icy and has already been picked by Ghosty. The first Sage I've gotten to see tonight by Jelly. Surprisingly, the first Sky I may see tonight, even though we already went to Ascent, might get picked up by Lemon. Definitely a lot of potential to see some new ideas from both of these teams going into game number 1.
Like something new. We haven't seen Sky yet today. We saw Brimstone earlier on. Zohan and I were really critical of the Brimstone we saw earlier.
Oh, where are we?
That was on
Okay.
Idaho. Yeah, it wasn't great. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay.
But this should be a very close game. All 3 maps, if it does go 3 maps, should be close. If it ends in 2, I don't see the round differential being anything more than probably 6. I wouldn't be surprised with 13-10s on either map. Anything more extreme than that, then I'd be a little shocked. Skies on Bind, relatively straightforward. I think this overall operator lineup is nothing to really surprise about or be surprised about. They're relatively uniform ways of playing Bind. That's exactly what we're seeing here.
Yeah, you got your everyman's agents for basically the entire rosters for either sides. You got your different kinds of utilities. There really isn't any sort of a factor for entry or holding or blinding or smoking that is kind of left unturned by either of these squads. You got a little bit of everything, and you do need a little bit of everything to control a map like Bind. A lot of strange sight lines, tight chokes, weird corners, a lot of weird altitude play. You have to do so many different things to win on Bind, and I think that both of these teams have the potential, the utility, the comp, the know-how, the players to do everything they need to do to win.
For all of you who are just joining us, DePaul University, walking through that first stage of the bracket, took down the Idaho University Vandal esports side in one map, and then Idaho forfeited the second map. They then 2-0'd Marquette, and now they're here. Butler on the other side, 2-0'd Marist, then 2-0'd Washington State, and now they're here. There's your quick run of the bracket. 8 teams down to just 2. One grand finals winner at the end of this 3-map series. Could just be 2, depending on this start to these first 2 maps. Odin playing in the backside, avoids the Roomba, and finds an opening kill. The paint shells as well find Nisei. It's Icy with a 3K, Butler with a pistol, an almost flawless one at that. You know, Tenric, I don't know if you like analyzing pistols. I know you said you really don't. Try that one on for size.
I would love to not, and yet I would love to so much. Cause look, Bind A short.
Wait,
Bind.
wait.
No,
Wait.
no.
Mercy has
we
4
don't rest.
assists.
We don't rest on it. I like Bind A short a lot. for pistol rounds specifically, because things like that can just happen. Icy can sort of just press, honestly, both mouse buttons at the same time, and whatever he lands on, it'll probably work. And DePaul didn't do it first. Butler could find the right momentum, snowball it into round number 1, and into slightly better weapons going into the follow-up here. How will DePaul answer and potentially try and find this reversal, or will they just go for the eco cut? Honestly, I would really vibe with either decision.
If I'm talking about Butler, I'm looking to play passive. You have the weapon advantage, you have the long-range engagement advantage. There's no reason to take close-range gunfights, nor allow them to push you as a squad. If they do, back away. You have the rendezvous available on firstie, and you have the Omen playing in the back corner side. This is a fake over towards the B side, which seemingly is being read. Nisei trying to find anything, is not being given anything whatsoever. Firstie with a nice double, a headshot on a jelly, no less. This is a full A site execute. A good spike plant is whatever happens out of this round, a good notion to the end of it, but it should be a flawless one at that. It is indeed a strong second round win by Butler, but a spike plant for DePaul is exactly what they're looking for.
Hey guys, look, it's Chamber. Guys, look, it's Chamber again. More Chamber. He's pretty good, guys. He seems like a pretty good. He seems like a pretty good agent. What do you think of Chamber? Time to light.
I don't know. He's a pretty cool agent. Very adaptable to a setup. You have the ability to move around. You have lethal utility in terms of a default secondary ability and your ultimate, alongside the fact that the tripwire is there in terms of the trademark. Overall, probably the best culmination of the agents in the pool. The only thing you're really missing is a flash, and no one cares about flash.
No one cares about flashes. I like that philosophy. I wish I could tell all my teammates that when I play a game of ranked. Butler now facing up against the eco, and so they are going to do what eco rounders do, and they're going to enter quickly. Lemon will trade things out, so it's still a 4v4, and firstie is still rocking this Marshall. Odin actually has a Vandal as well, so we'll see how this round amps up. The scoreboard is looking so cool. We're reflecting on it as we watch this round commence. Butler now down to 3. Firstie trying to find the hits with the Headhunter. Will not succeed after Ghosty can blast pack to the middle of the site. It'll be another free plant for DePaul.
Butler University, though, trying to play back into this one is a little awkward for them to be in. You'd like to see Lemon try and take this quickly. You have the flashes available to try to initiate, but the dark cover finally reinitiating them as a whole. The paranoia thrown through as well, but the incendiary sitting in front. Lemon looking to push through. They still have to clear out this incendiary, and the overgrowth means absolutely nothing considering Odin is already on full HP. Sego trying to find an opening gunfight, and does indeed. Looking for a second, is shut down. Odin does not find their second either, is immediately traded back. DePaul University pick up their first round, but it's a bonus round win, meaning Butler can completely rebuy into this next.
And it's a bonus that dismantled so much of what DePaul had to offer. At the very least, they got the 2 plants, and so DePaul has a lot more credits to work with, despite the fact that a lot of their players did fall during that round. You see that damage shown in Jelly having to go for the Guardian instead of a full-on rifle. You could request the creds from Sago, but I don't know if he's willing to fully budge on splurging like that. Butler, in the meanwhile, is fully kitted up, full shields, full rifles. They are good to go for round number 4, which begins right now. Recon Bolt quickly shut down, but at the very least, you know at least one agent is there in B long. This spread push has blossomed for DePaul. So many members in every little bit of this map. Lemon on the run from the paint shells does take a sliver of damage, but nothing more. DePaul having a slightly more free entrance, but they still got to work for it.
What's the call now for DePaul? You have 2 players towards long, one trying to initiate towards B mid, one trying to do the exact same towards A mid, and one sitting in showers, or just outside of it. 4Z is playing this close angle, needs to swing and finds a kill. Now DePaul are playing a fully spread default, have found absolutely nothing in terms of real estate on this side, but finally finding a kill. Does that mean they try B, considering there's only one person here? Well, make that 2 now as Firstie uses the rendezvous to get back.
Whoa, Lemon using some telekinesis on this gun. From a different perspective. That 1-to-1 hold I don't think is going to change anytime soon, unless somebody gets a little aggressive, and Ghosty might be doing that.
30 seconds left.
Wow. I don't know if that was a visual glitch for Ghosty's view as well, but gotta be a little weird to walk in against. Jelly's gonna try and enter, only finds a 1-to-1 trade as to 2 more members of either squad. It's just Sago left for DePaul University. He's gonna meet Icy's head, and will just barely have enough time to plant the spike. Lemon now has to re-enter on slightly lesser health, and DePaul is looking quite good on this attack.
That last smoke, they're going to try use this incendiary. You have to get on the spike almost immediately. That's exactly what happens. The incendiary goes up. You can actually stick this considering their HP, but with that orbital strike thrown through, the actual incendiary would have missed.
Oh, no!
But timing should still go his way. Lemon can hop on this. That's exactly what happens. I don't know about that call, Sego. Not the best one.
If the incendiary landed, then he would have had enough time, but it didn't. And and Lemon was able to kind of run around it. You just needed to have that angle on point, and Sago just didn't. I feel like he may have questioned how Lemon possibly could have gotten there in time, but you know, they'll watch this VOD back and say, "Oh, my angle was just a tiny bit off." But regardless, I loved that. That was super fun to watch. I love those kinds of lobs, those long shots from just about anywhere on the map. Super fun to witness. Butler is also kind of stuck with a slightly weaker arsenal after, again, there's only 1 player left. Both of these teams have done enough damage to each other in these rounds where they should be pretty set, to the point where we haven't really seen a team that's been fully kitted for more than 1 round. That being said, only 4 have gone by, but Butler was fully kitted round 4, just barely though, and now they're going to pay for it, but they can't use credit, so they got to just pull up a Tour de Force or a Judge or whatever you may have at this stage.
Cover going out.
Again, I'm no expert in first-person shooters, but regardless of your weapon, if you just hit your shots, you win the round. Of course, that's how you win rounds. The expert analytical opinions from T3 Caster, by the way.
That's a great point.
I think that's really like an innocuous way to do this as well. Not many people think about, oh, just hit your shots and you're good to go. Odin looking to do exactly that without an Odin in hand, so I don't know about their chances. There's a swing, and they miss everything. Instead of that final headshot, you know, why not? Precise gunplay, by the way. Good coordination knows Icy will take out Jelly as the wall falls. Sago, however, brings it right back. It's down to just Sago in a 1 versus 3. Finds the first, but brings out the knife just a little bit too early. Did not have the time nor the weaponry to do so in that 1v3, and Butler re-extend their lead back up to 3 with a massive advantage on this defensive side.
ForzY has been feeling themselves these past couple maps. Another bit of BM to finish out the round. This is some disgusting stuff coming from Butler University. I honestly was really expecting DePaul to be able to hold a candle more consistently, but Butler really has this defense locked down. Their range especially has just been really great, and they've just known how to converge on their opponents very consistently. Early guiding light so DePaul can rotate a little bit through short, and another early utility thrown by the Sky. It's the Seekers as well as the Trailblazer, but all of it is essentially useless thanks to the dark cover and paranoia that's thrown out. So much denial immediately thrown, and a showstopper down short will give Icy all the room in the world to roam. There's a blast back, and the showstopper will find Ghosty. Butler has reversed so much of the progress that was seemingly made by DePaul, but Nisei will trade out against Icy, and the healing orb is present too. A double support seemingly helping out quite a bit for DePaul's beginning to their attack, but their resources have already run so dry.
On this DePaul attack, they have to initiate with an opening kill. It's exactly what happens, and it's immediately traded back. But the 2-for-1 trade favors this DePaul side. They have to get more, though. Swing from ForzY is shut down. Nice shot across by Dinosaur, by the way, leaving Lemon in a 1v3. I want to talk about the ability to heal up your teammates as well. That's brought through on this DePaul side. You have the healing orb on the Sage along with the overgrowth on that. If I'm thinking of my agents correctly, Sky, because we've never seen Sky today. It's been a long time. But
you're good.
You get the general theme of things. Lemon now trying to get aggressive in this 1 versus 3 is immediately shut down. Good crossfire being held, 1 towards Showers, 2 in towards U-Haul, and the round goes the way of DePaul. Strong. Strong.
Yeah, DePaul managed that round so perfectly well. They, after, like, that was a great recovery, and honestly, the fact that Nisei's second guiding light was used so well was a real decider in that matchup. Nisei able to cut through so much with what little utility was left. DePaul making the most
Come into the unknown.
what they've got. And now Dinosaur is actually going to do an extra bit of saving here, create a bit more of a cushion with that Tour de Force. As both teams now have 3 ults under their belt. A lot more potential for these rounds to get a whole lot more chaotic. But DePaul is still going to take their sweet time. They know if they get aggressive, they'll get punished. It's happened so many times, it might happen again. Ghosty, Wiggle Peek, and all you will see is an owl drone for the moment, and Nisei will get darted for their troubles.
We're talking about the fact that Chamber has a lethal ultimate, and it's also a substitute for an operator should you choose to do it. I know that really goes without saying, but it also gives an extra little bit of depth to Chamber as an agent, allowing him to decide, hey, I don't want to purchase up using my economy. Instead, I will invest using this ultimate, which allows you to reinvest later on, should you choose to do so, with maybe a full operator rather than just the CSGO version of it. That's the joke that we make with the Tour de Force, by the way. But Butler, on this defensive side, cannot compete with those opening picks. Trying to get aggressive is not the play, especially when you don't have that weapon advantage, and they really haven't in a few rounds.
And you also don't have a Jet or a Reyna or a
30
Fade
seconds left.
on your team either. You don't have too many ways to kind of
I've got your
jump in
trail.
immediately. What you have is a Sky, and that's what you're going to use basically every time. And so the Sky needs to be at the helm of the push every time. That guiding light needs to be present every single time. A Hunter's Fury wantonly used on B side. I'm a bit surprised by that usage. But, hey, you do you, I suppose.
One enemy
Sego
remaining.
holding super close, and Dinosaur's Tour de Force is going to pick up the kill onto Forzy. It's just Odin left. Do I see a flawless round 7 to bring the deficit back to just 1 and give DePaul a very sudden edge here on Bind? We'll see how much Odin can do here. Slowly wandering through the back. At this stage, with how many people are left, there's no way that you'll find a defusal. How many bodies can you pop? A rendezvous will make sure that the answer is just Sago for now. Everyone holding back from Garden, but yeah, there is no way you're going to be able to find anything else. Everyone else running away, including Odin. The spike is going to detonate, and DePaul is up to 3.
Dang, I was really expecting a 1v5 clutch there, especially with the lack of utility, the lack of manpower, and the fact that you're playing a controller. /S. Sorry, had to add the satire to the end of that one because there was no way you were pulling that one off. I don't care if there's divine intervention going the way of Odin, considering the fact that he's literally named a Greek god. He's not winning that round. Butler, however, still had the lead, so they're not out of this one just yet. DePaul would like another round consistently here. Am I being told that Odin's not a Greek god? Am I just a moron? Hold up.
Yeah, it's
Norse god. Yeah, I've been watching. Not enough. Sorry,
You're good.
my bad.
I don't think there is that not enough for. I feel like as long as you hit like 1 or 2 of the movies, you're fine.
I want to watch the new one. It's good. I've seen the
Love and
trailers.
Thunder?
Quality. Yeah.
Spike
Or
planted.
Ragnarok?
No, Love and Thunder.
Love
Ragnarok's
and Thunder.
You
I've
will
heard
not
good
kill
things.
my allies.
I mean, it's still Taika Waititi,
Last
so, I mean,
player
you're
standing.
gonna expect it. Sago, a 4K. Get things started for DePaul. It is a save round, so
Yeah.
I mean, we're taking it pretty casual at this point. DePaul is gonna find the tie, potentially a flawless round here. This is so great. I mean, DePaul's economy was already looking really stable, and honestly, you only have 4 rounds that you need to keep at this stable. I think DePaul can easily get that done. We could see a magnificent comeback here. Lemon pulling up the classic to find at least 1 kill. Has a bucket to potentially find another before the spike goes boom. Sago's gonna spot him, and Lemon finds another pick with the classic. But Dinosaur is gonna pick up the kill. Everyone still gets out safely post-detonation. DePaul will find round number 8.
Yeah, I was about to make the reference. Hey, you're all wondering why we're not casting. It's because we had a relatively predicted outcome to that round. TLDR was DePaul walk in, find gunfights, and win them considering their weaponry. That's exactly what happened. Surprise, surprise. You hate to see it for DePaul, but that's about the expected outcome in a lot of those rounds. Odin, however, I think they purchased in the previous round. They decided to invest into a Vandal, or somebody decided to invest into a Vandal. And because of that, Odin is relegated to just a Sheriff and half shields. Not the position you want to be in. Dinosaur, that does scan you. There's little color codes on the sides of that sonar to detect you, and that's exactly what happens. They get aggressive and find the kill because of it. Away goes this defensive side. They retreat back in towards A, take the real estate, and back up along with that opening frag. good paint shells in towards the back of the set, but I don't think that's going to find anything. It doesn't. Firsty looking to find the aggression, down to 63 HP, and Lemon swings around with him. Good bait and switch from this defensive side as Butler up in a 5 versus 1, turning it immediately back from what it was in the previous round. Looking for a flawless as well. Jelly, lucky if they stay alive for longer than 4 seconds. Not going to happen. A flawless round back the other way. The Uno reverse card slapped down. Anything you can do, we can do better. Tenrek, anything you can do, we can do better. We can do anything better. There we go.
Huh? I
It's
know
old,
the song you're
old
referencing,
song.
but why did you say
Yeah.
my name in the middle of that?
I don't know. Because
Is that just like
I-
a reflex at this point for people? Just
Yeah. Your name's cool. I don't know. I like your name.
Oh, I was thinking that what I meant was that a reflex is for people to just say they're better than me.
No, that's not true. You know League of Legends. I can never stand that.
What, you think you're better than me, Light? You think you're better than me? I won't argue. DePaul,
I mean, you
another
you know
entrance
League of
for Hookah.
Legends.
That makes me worse. That makes me the worst. That makes me
No.
the worst of people.
As long as you don't play League of Legends, you're okay.
I do play League of Legends, Light.
No, then you're the worst.
Yeah, I'm the worst. DePaul very spread this time for their attack. It's still pretty even eco-wise, and so there's not much to lose in that department. Honestly, I feel like they're just treating it like a scrim round more than anything. DePaul is going to take their time with their entries. Butler's going to take their time with their defenses. Utility is going to be used at a very solid rate on both sides. You're going to see a little bit of everything. And a lot of creativity and improvisation. The Seekers may not be in the plan right now for Butler, but they may be in it later. The Showstopper may not be in the plan for DePaul now, but it may be in it later. Of course, if Ghosty doesn't stay alive, then that's not going to happen. Ghosty's going to pull out the Showstopper early so they can clear out A-Site. Is going to find Odin and find the kill outside of U-Haul. A-Site is open for business.
Oh, no. And Sego's found a timing as well. Icy's been detected. That should be information relayed and a free frag found. Ghosty should just try and bait that out. That's exactly what happened. Strong coordination by this DePaul side. The slow orb in towards this Lamp's position as well is atrocious for this defense to try and retake. Lemon's been walled off. Fortnite, by the way, welcome to a first-person shooter from a third-person shooter. I don't know, terrible references. Unfortunately, a terrible round for DePaul, or for Butler as well. Not much you can do here if you're Lemon. Try and make it out alive. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Me when I see blocks. Fortnite! Just see anyone building anything. I'm just gonna go to a construction zone and point at everything.
that's what I was gonna say.
Fortnite!
That's what I was gonna say.
Fortnite! It's Fortnite!
You can't see us right now, but we are laughing to ourselves in our camera call. Don't mind that.
Oh, jeez. Alright, it's tied up again. 5-5. We've seen this episode before for honestly both of these teams at this stage in the series. Or in the tournament, rather. Where, you know, it's been a pretty even matchup on one end, but then one team just decides to pop off for no foreseeable reason. I don't know if that can happen this time. Because Bind, to my mind, has a pretty even attack/defense rate for both ends. I feel like it's just going to come down to the better team here on Bind. DePaul loses one early after Lemon mans down the Hookah Trail, and Odin is going to find Nisei as well. Dinosaur hopping up to Lemon and somehow wins the duel. And so the spike is still going to get planted on B-site, but it's a 4v3 retake. Everyone coming from the backside hall.
They want to completely reinitiate as a squad, but unfortunately that could turn into a meat grinder, especially with a strong set of paint shells being thrown in. Jelly takes out that sonar, but they still find the detection. Dinosaur finds a kill and rendezvous a whale at a perfect time. Jelly still trying to get aggressive in towards the tube, but dies immediately. Dinosaur onto their third, leaving Ghosty in a 1 versus 2, but the timing's not going to go their way. It's not planted for him. You have to initiate down and through. Icy finds the timing, but dies regardless. First, he just does not have the time on the clock and has to find the kill and immediately hop on that defuse. It's not going to happen. The right click lands. The headshot's there. A clutch from Ghosty and another round from DePaul puts them on towards that guaranteed tied up path.
What a tight hold. Dinosaur's sustainability, thanks to that rendezvous, is absolutely astounding. I really was scared that he wouldn't get anything done. I was like, oh, he rendezvoused back to tree instead of something like elbow. Well, that's an underwhelming angle. Surely he can't find another kill with that. And then he did on like 15 health. Man Chamber is a good agent, but Ghosty as well, manning that rotation so incredibly efficiently to the point where first he was constantly questioning themselves and also just couldn't hold a sight lane at a time. Also constantly had to be moving and had to bluff that spike defusal despite the fact that he only had to cover half of it. DePaul on the verge of finding a lead here, but both of these teams once again at their best. Butler has a showstopper up their sleeve as well as a Hunter's Fury for the pre-plant, so a lot of potential for either of these teams to find something. Icy just walking through showers with his Bucky, it seems. Yeah, he's gonna take care of that Trailblazer. Ghosty as well gonna launch a boom bot, and we're in this stage of neutrality despite the fact that there's a very uneven set of matchups going on here, Light.
Butler somehow are keeping that advantage, whatever advantage they may have, without having the weapon advantage nor the man advantage. If they find an opening pick, I'm wary for DePaul's chances at this round, considering the fact that the Showstopper and the Hunter's Fury, as you mentioned, are both on the board. And this is the last round of the half. They should be used before both players fall. The trademark being destroyed early is a good notion, but first he finds a kill back the other way and backs away. The Showstopper popped as well, but the Blast Pack misses. In goes the Showstopper, does a little bit of damage onto Sego, but Sego lives regardless. Well, never mind. He's dead. The Hunter's Fury. A compound of ultimates will lead to the demise of the Brimstone. Not a good position for this DePaul University side to be in. They're looking to break that wall and push straight through from the U-Haul position. Icy with the Bucky out. Does take out the Jelly, but the Spike still planted. The spray through from Dinosaur, trying to find the kill, and does just that. Dinosaur now backing away, still needs to find the kill into Icy, but could find a timing. Finds a second kill, but not the frag required. Butler tie the half up.
Hey, Dinosaur was hitting bits there for a second, though, I will say. That was a really solid effort from them. But it is another round going towards the other side. Butler will bring it back. And there's been a couple streaks here and there, but this has just been a back and forth for this first half of Bind.
Sticking with your prediction there, Tenrek, because looking at how DePaul have been playing, it's
tough.
looking
It's tough to stick
it's
with it.
wary. The issue is you're not seeing much consistency out of DePaul. They have a 3-round in a row and a 2-round in a row, but Butler are consistently spacing out those rounds. I think they're playing their advantages a little bit better, but DePaul on this defensive side have to set up their crossfires and their utility well, and they have to keep that up for a long period of time. You drop that wall early, it's going to be immediately taken away. You gain maybe 15 seconds of staying power out of that. That's not enough, especially in the first 15 seconds of the round.
Yeah, Sage on defense on Bind does kind of scare me a little bit. I see the merit of it on attack because much like an attack on Icebox, you can default push on U-Haul and find some connection there. Ghosty attempting the flank and force, he's going to put a stop to it, but another flank will actually be mildly successful as there's a trade out from Dinosaur. And we're in a 4v4 here. DePaul still attempts to defend, but they've kind of stopped spreading the wealth as much. First, he's holding from short, and that leaves a pretty open net here for the rest of DePaul to walk through. Chevy's gonna find the head, but neither shot connects. It's a split push, but the spike is gonna end up on B site, as will 3 members of Butler. And it looks like the plant will go uncontested, but this post-plant fight, God, okay, please play by play it, Light. I'm not going to be able to.
Butler still holding this long-range angle, but Crossfire's already set up by them is a good spot for them. Dinosaur looking for yet another, will be taken away just under Hookah and Lemon with a strong shot across, picks up their second of the round. Butler with the pistol round win. Again, they pick up a consistent start. Their attack continuing just where their defense left off with a round win and some momentum to boot.
Yeah, I'm starting to understand the Butler pick for sure. Like you said, they are a more consistently performing team, and while DePaul is able to find those streaks, there comes a point where they trip up, and there's this one little thing, this one fuse that just makes the entire operation blow up in DePaul's face. It feels so arbitrary sometimes, and yet it can mean so much for DePaul's footing. Dinosaur with a headhunter shot onto Firsty, though, is going to put a stop to a lot of this opening push to an advantaged Butler after winning this pistol round. Nisei holding a very close angle and not as much aggression from this defending side, despite losing this pistol round. You're so used to seeing these teams with the slightly worse guns just kind of go in, weapons blazing, seeing if they can maybe find something, anything, but DePaul is gonna take their sweet time. Dinosaur getting hit nearly point blank with the paint shells is gonna take a whole lot of damage, and the healing orb is gonna have to get used a tad bit early. Lemon firing through the sky smoke and just happens to find Ghosty because why not?
Peekaboo, you're dead. DePaul, on the defensive side, you were talking about their weapon disadvantage. I think they're still trying to play these long-range angles, but because of that weapon disadvantage, they will lose out eventually. Notably, when the Bulldog sprays down like that and you get caught out with the timing. Notably, Odin's already on 3 ultimate points gained, looking for a 4th here with the orb. We'll probably just wait a few seconds for the rest of the team to start to stack up. It's a fake over towards A with the initiation call over towards this B side. And with Nisei finding that frag, they have to start to go now. The dark cover in towards that CT position, but 4Z needs to find a frag, and they're not going to give them the opportunity. It'll be yet another retake here, Tenrek, and DePaul University have to find an opening kill for it, or they will run out of time on this retake. Sego trying to set up that shot. It does not land and just narrowly misses that far side. Odin, Jelly peeking through and dies. It is opening picks, but it's only for Nisei. 1 versus 1. Odin playing around that far side, catches timing, but still finds the kill. 26 HP, the difference between DePaul denying the conversion and Butler picking it up, but Butler pick up their 3rd in a row regardless.
Into the Shadows is ready, by the way. And Dinosaur almost has the Tour de Force. This is insane stuff coming from these team members sometimes. Just the occasional pop-off. Nisei with a really solid 3K as well to boot, despite the fact that you were down in that round. Just insane stuff coming from both of these sides. Neither team letting up for a moment. Now you got the bonus up for DePaul. How aggressive will Butler be? Looks like a boom bot thrown at B, Hookah, but it's actually going to be a push towards A short, so a very temporary bluff to spur a very quick rotation forward. Dinosaur immediately rendezvous back, understands they're going to need support before they can really engage. Honestly, time to light. I think they've set up a solid post-plant situation for the 3rd round in a row.
And DePaul just cannot compete with this. However, they are doing just that. Ghosty with a 3K, all lined up. All are now dead. Lemon left alone, dies to Ghosty as well. 4 kills for the Rays. DePaul pick up exactly when they need to, deny the bonus round. Butler University will still have that economy, considering the fact that they won the first 2 rounds relatively handedly. However, DePaul now have a way back into this half and into this map. It is just a 1-round disadvantage, and they're still looking decent on the backside.
Okay, Ghosty. I'm listening. I'm listening now. Dinosaur would have been forced to save, but has gotten the kills to be able to find this Tour de Force. So I can confidently say that both of these teams are going to be evenly matched this round. Jelly does have the Bulldog, but that is arbitrary, I think. It's inconsequential. What matters is how well DePaul plays as a team, and Dinosaur is going to make it a whole lot easier for the rest of DePaul to play after an early kill on the firstie.
Again, early frags going the way to DePaul. This question remains, can they convert off of said opening frags? Historically in this half, no, and, well, Icy just dropping Dinosaur seems to continue that general theme. The swing through finds yet another. Do they clear out Jelly out of Cubby? No. Jelly finds a double before following and falling themselves. The dark cover was thrown out early on, so the spike will yet again go down. That is the 3rd round in a row where we will see a post-plant position, but it's still good positioning by the Butler side. Odin using from the shadows to get in towards Hookah and play that long-range engagement position. Another dark cover in through the backside forces them to initiate completely blindly and straight in towards 4Z. Odin, the long-range angle, still finds the kills, regardless of the fact that they're playing on top of the Hookah box and straight in their line of sight. Butler win a 9th round and a 3rd in this half. DePaul shut down on the retake yet again.
And it's 11 health points instead of 26 that separate Butler from defeat this time. Once again winning by the skin of their teeth, but it's Odin's quick thinking and into the shadows usage that carried that round to its final bit of success. Dinosaur's Tour de Force is used in vain. And now comes a full-on save round from the entire squad. Butler is about to hit double digits unless DePaul can find a thrifty. Butler gonna take short mainly, but another member going up showers. You can tell these team members are ready to be a little more in your face, especially Icy with that judge in hand. It's not at the showstopper just yet, but it's
I've
so
got your
very
trail.
close to it. The Seekers come out early as well, so Butler has a lot of information, but what are they going to do with it? They're just going to TP out over to the less occupied B site, try and burn through this barrier in order to get there quicker, but there are going to be two defenders laying in wait. Nisei is already waiting in the cubby and is going to find Icy, turn around, find Odin, and get Lemon in hookah!
Down B.
And Nisei has cleared out the entirety of point B single-handedly.
Scanning ahead.
Of course, he has to grab the spike and make it out alive.
Player
Grabs the spike,
standing.
does not make it out alive. Nisei onto a 4K. First, he left alone in a 1 versus 4. Has found the singular kill in favor of this Butler University side thus far this round. Needs to find 4 more. It's an ace for Firsty required, or a possibility of 1 for Nisei on the opposing side. The aggression coming
30
through
seconds
CT.
left.
Jelly seems to be aware of it. There's the swing. There's the frag. No ace for you. Regardless, it's an 8th round win for DePaul, and the rifles retrieved for good measure. Butler are ruined in that weapon round. DePaul, as soon as they pick up an even keel in terms of weaponry, they're looking strong on this map.
We're turned right back around, aren't we? Time to we're back to a 1-round
Uh-huh.
gap. We're back to Butler being forced to save. We're back to DePaul having a solid amount of ults, and we'll probably go back to another tie game at 9-9. This is ridiculously well matched between these two teams. What's the craziest thing is that Butler isn't even the 2 seed. Butler had to beat the team who beat the 2 seed to get to this spot. They are performing so well. DePaul, of course, the 1 seed, the favorite, and yet Butler is keeping time, keeping pace, but DePaul may just be able to find this round. Sago going to launch out an incendiary to be able to find a little bit of space past this sky smoke in the very, very occupied showers, thanks to Butler University's final 4 members that are currently alive. 3 ults on DePaul's side, a Hunter's Fury on Butler's, potentially for a post plant, but more often than not, Forzy hasn't really been alive to see those post-plant fights. He's been one of the first to go down very consistently, often because with that Owl Drone, he is one of the first to engage. See if Ghosty can find a better sight line, but I find it a bit unlikely. It's going to be on Dinosaur to find a lot of these first picks, though. Or DePaul with that option. Ghosty is going to be the first to find one, though, and Sago is going to get sacked in cubby. Dinosaur has to turn through, and because of the close range, the Headhunter is the one that has to land. Ghosty's going to use that showstopper and equalize. DePaul is still up by 1 member, but
Enemy remaining.
Nisei is going to commit 2 and find the double kill. DePaul does, in fact, save, but it is another post-plant fight. DePaul will tie things up, but man, did Butler know how to keep it interesting.
R/, there was an attempt. That page directs to Butler University's Valorant team, by the way. It was a good try on that attacking side. They had the weapon disadvantage. The spike plant's good for them. But I still want to talk about the fact that Dinosaur, you were talking about them needing to find the frags. And yeah, they found an opener, but past that, they were just collapsed on. It was good prioritization by Butler University to really collapse on that chamber, who had the Headhunter in hand, which is a good long range, an outstanding weapon to use. However, close range, you have to hit those very minuscule shots. Just didn't happen. The right click from Classic is just better. Also, you were talking about the initiation from the Sova. Who would have thought initiators initiate into rounds?
Dude, that is such a great point.
I had to say it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but I found that really funny.
That is philosophical right there, mate. Holy. Need to say a far flank down showers. DePaul getting up close and personal with this slightly more concentrated Butler attack. He's taking both the short sights. Firsty getting to U-Haul and taking down Sago, though. Nisei now has to take a moment and be prepared for this Hunter's Fury that's immediately going to get wasted by 4Z. Lemon trades it out, though, so Butler's still ahead in the kill feed, and Ghosty's the only one on A side is going to jump out during the plant to interrupt
Spike
it. And
down A.
Icy has to trade it through, so no post-plant fight just yet, but since Jelly as well
Spike planted.
as Icy, I believe, are the ones that have to arrive a little late, they are going to be in post-plant fight now. Couple wanton shots. First, he eventually finds it. It's just Dinosaur left alone, and I don't even know if he wants to take this. He might just want to save.
No. Save. Run away. Don't take the gunfights. You have an operator. The Headhunter bullets will save over regardless of the outcome of the round, but you just do not want to take an unnecessary gunfight. That's the position you have to be in on the DePaul side, and that's going to happen regardless. Lemon's going to get aggressive.
Lemon.
Dinosaur's wary of the CT. Push in
done.
through B. That's not where they're supposed to be looking. Good swing.
Wow.
Good frag from Lemon.
That
And a
was
good
great.
round from DePaul. Taking away the operator's the most important part about that, I think. Yes, if they stay alive, it's not the worst thing. But making sure you have to reinvest, including the fact that DePaul University have had a decent economy for few rounds now, means DePaul are on the back foot, and massively so. They lose this, their economy's in shambles. If Butler lose this, they'll still be able to buy. It won't be a great one, but DePaul won't be able to.
I mean, looking at the scoreboard, there really is one outlier, isn't there? Everyone else looking really solid in their KDAs. And then there's just Jelly, who is unfortunately underperforming just a tad bit. And especially on the defense as the Sage. I mean, that barrier is basically one of the biggest things that Sage is going to do this game. It's probably one of the biggest things that Jelly is supposed to do during the round. Jelly unfortunately
Yeah,
has to
you
back
seen
that
the
up
size
with
of it?
frags. Yeah, Jelly unfortunately has to back that up with frags. And
I've got your trail.
hasn't really done that yet. And DePaul is faltering for it.
Utility used properly here on this defensive side. Orbital strike to force them out of position. Odin
Whoa!
dies because of it, trying to aggress into an already set orbital strike's not a position you want to be in. Icy getting aggressive though, drops Ghosty as they place down the Roomba. Full site control now gained here for the Butler side. They don't clear the close cubby. 4Z, however, will fall immediately after. 2 versus 2, no, 2 versus 3. Now a 1 versus 2 as Icy's left alone. But if anybody's going to clutch, it's going to be him. 36 HP, both headshots required, only one found. Sego will bring that one back with 150 HP left over. Flawlessly, at least for him, keep it alive. And a little bit of help from the, Titanfall robot? Yeah, Titanfall. That's a dig at Apex Legends, by the way.
DePaul has to be out of their gaming center by midnight Central Time. I feel like Butler is trying to stall to make DePaul have to leave at this
Win by
pace.
forfeit.
This is such a long game because these teams are so consistently evenly matched. Every time you think there's a potential to run away, there isn't. The longest streak so far this game has been 3 rounds long, and each of these teams has only done that one singular time. Another barrier orb placed in Hookah, and all it's gonna do is let Jelly know that there is a person or two around Hookah at some point in the game, and not really much more than that, unfortunately. Butler, again, approaching with caution, with dignity, but mainly through Hookah. 3 members, including the Spike Holder and Odin, are gonna make their way through.
Again, it's aggression, but it has to be quick aggression that finds frags, and Ghosty finds a timing. They were scoped in, but Lemon has been found out. Ghosty can swing this, and with the information in their pocket, does bait out the shots, and immediately Lemon has to reposition. Now Ghosty could shoot over their head, and tracers are always important as to giving away information. Sego repositioning over top of those triple boxes as well in towards that A side. Nisei trying to get aggressive out towards the speed long position as well. A good flash, a good swing. The paint shells, however, doing a crap ton of damage. They kill him.
What?
It's an immediate trade between the two. Icy dies, but gets a kill immediately thereafter. A site has
30
fallen.
seconds
It is
left.
still a 2 versus 2. This round is far from over, Tenrek, and Dinosaur has to find this frag before 4Z can just hang out for the time being, and the flank comes through with a spike in hand.
4Z's been holding down the fort for far too long here. DePaul was too scared to engage, and now you're a little too late, guys. Odin's here to help out,
No
but
way.
it doesn't matter. Ghosty and Dinosaur are able to clean up shop, and DePaul has the lead 2 rounds away from taking bind.
That's a situation where you have to play a crossfire setup, one towards the back of triple, the other holding from the default position, one of you watching around towards the CT side swing, the other in towards the middle walk. Why? Take a gunfight you do not have to when you can plant the spike and play time in your favor. That was a disadvantage, a massive one for DePaul, yet they win the round regardless, and it was a mistake by Butler. Yes, it was strong shots by DePaul, a good target prioritization. They split who they shot at properly. However, DePaul could have had it, and they didn't.
DePaul, of course, the team that picked to go to bind. Butler, we're going to be heading to their pick in Icebox next, but the way that they've held themselves up this map terrifies me for what we could be in store for in map 2 and potentially map 3 if we keep going at this rate. Jelly, a quick pick on Icy on the drop down. 4Z can trade things out, but this B site is on lock, and yet Butler still looks to give it a
Spike
go.
down B.
Lemon, as well as our friendly Firsty, is trying to hold down Tree. This tour de force is not going away anytime soon, but guys, you got to plant this spike. You got to get in there at some point, and you're the only 2 players left who can do it.
They understand A is not an option. Information will be given over by that trademark before they can immediately plant that spike down. B has to be the call. Unfortunately, they're pushing straight into a stack. Nisei holding the long crossfire with Ghosty. If one of them falls, the other should immediately refrag. And notably enough, Firsty's playing the long angle with this tour de force. Has to find an opening kill before they can even think of going through,
30 seconds
especially
left.
with both of them looking to push in through the B long garden. That is the call. They're both going to try to clear each individual position. It's not going to happen. Nisei gets one. Ghosty with the crossfire finds a second. A strong crossfire set up by DePaul that probably should have been the call for Butler in the previous round. Exactly the reason they won that. Now with 3 in a row, 5 of 6 and 7 of 9. Quick maths for you. DePaul are on to map point.
Oh boy. Oh boy. DePaul is on match point. And they have the rifles. They have a showstopper. They have a res to be able to get through this matchup. Looks like their defense is initially gonna guess wrong, as Butler is splitting to short and hookah again, but oh goodness. This might be a push on A long, and Butler may not be ready for it at the right point. They have Into the Shadows. They have Hunter's Fury. They have to get the spike to the site first, but how the hell do you get there?
Again, I'm going to go back on my previous addition to, obvious ways of winning rounds. Hit your shots. But past that, they have to play, again, aggression and use their initiators to initiate onto sites. You have the Hunter's Fury along with this Owl Drone, trying to get the tag and maybe find a frag off the back of it. No, the Owl Drone doesn't clear the close corner. That means Dinosaur could just wait here. Do they clear this? No. There's the first frag. No, he misses! Dinosaur whiffs! An uncharacteristic miss could cost them the round, especially with the ground now gained by the Butler University Bulldogs. Firsty, holding the long angle. The site has fallen. It's a pseudo-guard push on this attacking side, but the dark covers will dissipate and the spike can no longer go down for free. In goes that Trailblazer looking to gain information, and it fully clears out the shower's position. Good discipline in order to wait for the shower's position to fall, but the combat stim being thrown through means they look to push this one quickly at that. Firsty playing the long angle, Ghosty looking to peek around this triple position, finds the opening kill. Odin dropped, the showstopper thrown through, but it's just friendly fire put in that same right. Forzy avoids the guiding light to swing through as Sega will find one, but Firsty immediately turns it into a 4K, looking for the ace, will find it indeed. Butler University just a single round away from tying it and looking to send us to OT.
That was 2 big mistakes from DePaul that honestly completely disappoint me. Dinosaur had no trigger discipline looking for the rest of the team that was entering. He should have known that Icy was not going to be the only one walking past. He could have waited for Firsty to come in so then Dinosaur didn't have to be forced to spray transfer and have a terrible spread walking into the 1v1 against Firsty, and then he could have potentially found a 2K, and then, oh my god, Ghosty, what was that showstopper, my guy? That was disappointing to say the least. Dinosaur and Jelly forced to less than main rifles, and Butler University on the verge of taking us to overtime here in map number 1. Should they make this attack work? They have a Hunter's Fury to get it done. DePaul is going to pull out that tour de force, still has the res, still has the orbital strike, and Nisei is getting up close and personal. First, he's going to shut it down, though. There's the first pick from the attacking side.
Again, Butler University with these attacking picks have been outstanding to convert off of them. Forzy does not clear the close corner yet again. Now the question remains, will history repeat itself and Jelly die after they don't clear him, yet he dies regardless? Notably the Guardian's in hand, so keep that in mind possibly for later. They look to recover that ultimate orb, but I know they're going to trade it out for the showstopper instead of the tour de force. I like this call because it's immediate lethality rather than long range engagement for that tour de force. And yes, you already have the rifle in hand. Why waste a possibility of that showstopper when you could just find the frag across using that rifle? DePaul University on the defensive side, Tenrek, have to find a kill back the other way and quickly, or this will be a quick execute on towards the B side, and that seems to be the call already. Showstopper looking to be put through, but it's denied. Ghosty finds a first and a second as well, and uses a shadow. No way! He uses his satchels to get out of place! Jelly getting aggressive around the side, finds a kill as well. DePaul looking to shut this down right now. 2 versus 3, as they have to initiate and quickly. Dinosaur misses that tour de force shot. Forzy has to initiate quickly into the back of sight. It's not going to happen. Odin left alone, stuck inside. DePaul win their own map pick.
I am amazed at how DePaul was able to turn this around and manage that round. the main thing, as inconsequential as it was, how the hell did Ghosty avoid that 100 Sphere with the blast packs? That
I know, right?
Unreal hardcore park. That was so sick. Such great ways to avoid. That was unreal stuff. Butler keeping it close, but DePaul does win out on their own map pick, a 13-11 dub. After this short break, we'll take it over to Butler's pick. We're heading to Icebox as map number 2. Don't go anywhere.
The Book of the Grand Finals has finished its first chapter, and that took all of regulation to complete. Bind is in the books. DePaul taking their own map pick 1311. Now things get a little bit more chilly as our scenery changes to Icebox for our second map and our second chapter in this possible 3-chapter book. DePaul starting things off well, but it was certainly spotty, and DePaul, they need more, especially out of their opponent's map pick.
That's kind of my gripe at this point. DePaul, when they're at their best, they clearly have the better players, but they are so inconsistent in their performance, and Butler just isn't. They have been so much less spotty. Their utility has been so much more consistent. Their ultimate usage has been compared to DePaul's. See last round. But honestly, I still think that this could go either way. I think DePaul could still take this in 2. I think we could still just as easily be staying up even later to end up going to Breeze. I am so on the fence about the matchup at this stage. My one constant that I will rest on is the comps, because it's Icebox. I think we figured out where we're going. There's still going to be some chambers. I think Jelly will still go on this stage since we've seen that comfort pick. We might finally see a Viper. We could have on Bind and we didn't. We might finally see it here on Icebox. We'll see the Jets come back out. We'll probably see a Sova too. Maybe another Sky if we're lucky. But beyond that, I think Icebox's meta is still quite set in stone. Fade hasn't really made too many appearances, although I am a Fade believer on Icebox. Neon, forget about it. KO,
Forget about it.
Fine, it's a little too big. Astra, don't even think about it. Like, none of these new agents that have shaken up the meta on so many other maps, they don't really play a part in Icebox. It is an island! And it is where we will be taking our, albeit colder, vacation today. Oh, Reyna! I forgot about Reyna, too. First, you might be opting for that Reyna, too. But we'll see Butler starting out on attack, and DePaul starting out on defense here.
We don't talk about Reyna.
Why don't we talk about Reyna?
Reyna is, I think, a very overrated agent. Or correctly rated if you think she's bad. I'll explain. So, the extent of her kit consists of quicker fire rate if you pop her ult, a leer, and the rest of it is only effective should you find kills. You need to find frags for the entirety of your kit to be effective. That's the issue you're going to run into. That is not the case on any of the other agents in the game. Now, while getting kills helps you on some, considering the fact that you can get 2 kills and then rebuild up your signature ability, note Paint Shells and or Tailwind between Raze and Jet. That's just not the case with Reyna. She doesn't get enough efficacy out of that Leer and out of that Empress in terms of speeds of shots, considering the upgraded fire rate, in order to be viable. By the way, you just saw the entirety of the agent select. The reason I didn't talk about it, it was exactly what we were expecting. Comfort picks plus the fact that, there's no reason to talk about it. Yeah. Like you said, there's a very uniform way of Icebox. That's what we're seeing here.
It's Jet, Sova, Viper, Chamber, Sage. That's the push. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see a whole lot of defaults, a whole lot of mid-flank holds with Chambers, a whole lot of Jet Tailwind approaches to take high grounds on A site. You will see very much of the same kind of thing with Icebox. The question will be, as always, that keeps Icebox entertaining, who will do it better? DePaul to take the match and the entire bracket, or Butler to send us to map number 3. It is all on the 10 players in this lobby. We are only witnesses, and we happen to get paid to shout at it.
Wait a second. I don't have a part in how this game goes?
No. No amount of tarot cards could possibly influence this game. I'm so sorry. But if I could get a reading later from somebody in chat, that'd be awesome. I have a lot of questions about my future. Butler's going to start an attack on A site, seemingly. This seems to be a really good go-to for the first round of Icebox. A site, that little beeline is great for pistol rounds. Those nice little scrappy fights don't necessarily work as well on the long B-site channels, especially when you're up against a headhunter, but Icy is going to make it work regardless down the middle and take down Nise.
I'm not usually one to hope for a 2-0 here, but I really just do not want to see Haven again, so this will be one of the few times I am hoping for a 2-0. I'm not a fan of Haven, at least not this many times in a night, to say the least, especially considering if I've seen Butler play it way too much throughout these prelims as well. Odin, however, finding yet another kill for this Butler side. These are openers that DePaul just cannot afford to give over, and they need to reinitiate quickly at that. That snake bite's good, but it doesn't force out everybody, and the close corner is still being held. It has to be cleared out. If they don't fully clear this wall, it may not matter. It does not matter at all, apparently, as 4Z flicks behind. and Butler pick up the pistol in a flawless fashion, no less.
That was just a bit of a mess for DePaul, quite honestly. Butler is clearly superior when it comes to the pistol rounds. They have their lineups down. The close quarters formations work so much better, and the post-plant fight was all in Forzy's favor. Look at that, already halfway on the way to that Hunter's Fury. Here's the thing is, collegiate games are very different from a lot of other Valorant games that you get to cast because you're very prompted to focus on economy a lot more often because it is so much more impactful than in a lot of other games where utility and economy takes kind of a back seat to just pure aim. But honestly, with a lot of collegiate teams, these utilities, they need to be used better than a lot of the gunplay in a lot of these rounds. And so it's a lot easier to focus on these abilities that these agents are going to have to use because they play that much more of a role in this specific scene. Butler's been a bit more consistent with that as well, and their tempo, especially with their utility usage, has been much more consistent. They've been able to throw out things constantly throughout every bit of the fight. They haven't lost out on everything at once. Dinosaur spotting ahead, but can't deuce it. As it appears we may have someone standing in T-spawn still. Maybe someone who had to pee round 2, or first he just was working with the Marshal and was gonna watch the flank regardless. Either way, go off, King. I stand. Forzy finds the opening pick on a Jelly, and first he's finally gonna join the fun, but he might not be able to get in on any of it, as there's already 4 kills going Butler's way, and I mean, round 2 tings. Round 2 tings. Oh, Dinosaur.
Dinosaur, looking for another, is not going to find it. Only finding 2 kills. I say only, that does force Butler to reinvest with 2 different players. That doesn't make this a true bonus round. If it was 2 back-to-back flawless rounds, then I would really be concerned for DePaul, but I only have mild concern for them. Again, they won the previous map off the back of not winning either of the opening 2 pistol rounds, yet still looked pretty good. So keep that in mind for later. I still think Butler are looking overall decent in this, but a bonus round win is a pivotal position for them to be in, and unfortunately, they had to buy up a Vandal and Icy. So unless Icy finds an ace here and is able to buy up a tour de force in the following round, their economy's gonna be shut.
Big steps taken to make some big moves. First, an opening pick from Butler on the Marshal. On to Ghosty. So much space immediately gained, and the toxic screen goes up as well. That makes Forzy prone to rotation gone. Faulty, Sago drawn out, and so A-side is officially under control of Butler. What a beautiful way to begin this bonus.
If they find another kill, I think this round's over and DePaul have to save. They're going to be walking into a full gun round for DePaul next round, assuming they, of course, retrieve rifles with very little, if anything at all, considering their overall economy through the first 3. First, he avoids that sonar and will look to re-aggress. Jelly does not and has to do so in order to stay alive. First, he should be wary of that long angle, and that's the cue. DePaul back away. They hadn't found any opening picks to reinitiate themselves back into the site or into the round whatsoever, and with the spike continuing to tick away, they don't have all the time in the world. They are unfortunately not Doctor Strange. Butler look outstanding in their bonus round.
I will say, it is good sense for DePaul to play specifically like this, where they can keep 3 of their rifles post-bonus round. That's very sensible of them and very admirable for a team to have that kind of patience and not be so brazen to the point where you lose out on your bonus completely and you'll have to hybrid buy until like round 6. DePaul has the sense to at least go that far, and so they'll be able to spread the wealth a little bit, have a solid build to work with going into round number 4, but even so, DePaul is still fighting an uphill battle, and Butler, I mean, they're already looking set for a solid 3 or 4 rounds ahead of this.
If they win this round, I think the game's over. I'm calling it right now. If Butler win this round, I think the game's over. I don't usually make that early of prediction into a map, but if you gain this amount of control this early into a game, yes, it is your map pick and you're expected to do a little bit better compared to your opponents. If you continue to look this good, then I'm extremely concerned. Decent bit of damage early on, however, the Sage healing orb is still available, so it's not the end of the world, at least not early for Butler. Speaking of the healing orb, it's already used. That can't be used on dead people, though. That's a resurrection that's not available yet.
Firsty and
oh no.
Nisei duking it out. Firsty does win out. Dinosaur holding down B-Long with the Headhunter. Beautiful shot onto 4Z. 3v2 now. Odin next in line, but Odin will win out against Dinosaur, so it's back to a 2v2. Jelly will get the memo, and Paul will rotate back. Odin gonna take their sweet time with this plant because Firsty is going for the flank of a lifetime. Only has 50 health to his name, but who cares when you can aim? Got one, but Jelly can turn around. Too many shots taken. We're on the 1v1, but Odin will plant the barrier as well as the spike. And it has to be another retake.
You will not kill my
Oh, the
res!
Odin with the res! Are you kidding me? That is so crucial. Jelly has to fight in the 1v2, has the snake bite and the poison cloud. Rotating around yellow will not even find Odin.
Here.
Oh, goodness. Time to light this map. In just 4 rounds have already slipped away from DePaul University.
I just want to quickly add some irony to what I said earlier. I said Lemon would not be back into this round considering that the healing orb would not be effective and the resurrection wasn't available yet. The resurrection was indeed available just a little bit later on, and that's probably the reason that round went Butler's way. Now, of course, we saw the missed shots early on towards the Sage, but Odin, I think it was a little bit of anxiousness as well, considering you're in a 1v2, not a position you particularly want to be in. Not a good start for them whatsoever. Skeet shooting, not successful. Ground shooting is actually a second time as well. Good double opener, but Dinosaur on just 5 HP makes it out alive? Wow.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Gonna be healed up as well. Oh, they're gonna get healed up as well. That's up to like 80 HP as well. Outstanding start to the round there for DePaul.
That is a really great start for DePaul. It's scary if you're DePaul University at the moment. Going to map 3 would be catastrophic. You've already seen how Butler can perform on Haven twice now. I would be terrified. You're running with the Marshall. Unfortunately, unable to find anything. Nisei is going to pick up the pieces, and it's a 5v2. Butler terrified, quaking in their boots to plant. Forcey's not going to touch things just yet. He's going to find an opening pick first. Dinosaur we're whiffing 2 toward 4 shots. Is going to bring out the Headhunter now as Nisei begins to converge, and they know where 4Z is, but that being said, it's not like he had many options of where exactly he's going. Odin, now the only remaining member of Butler. No barrier orb is really going to help out against it. It's just Odin's ability to stay alive, and stay alive they will a little longer with that healing orb in this 1v3 now. Snake bite, slow orb, everything thrown at the wall, and eventually Sago can find the kill. DePaul will put one on the board.
NT. That's what I'm going to give you there. NT. DePaul, a strong, thrifty round, though, and Butler could not afford that. Feasibly, they actually could, like, in terms of their overall economics. They're the Swiss in terms of how much is left over in their bank accounts. However, DePaul, that's a round they really needed to win. Losing that following bonus round, or the bonus following round, is something that really cost them. That round win is something that can bring them back into this. I do want to highlight a couple players through this, though. Dinosaur really opening things up. There's an outstanding position for them to be in. They're 6-4 thus far, but Ghosty has to pick up the kills. They're playing the Duelist. They're playing Jet, who really only finds efficacy off of utility. Speaking of efficacy, there's an early Viper Spit. That basically relegates the entirety of this A side. Unless you want to push through a Viper Spit, I don't think that's particularly advised.
Yeah, we're really starting to go ultimate mode at this stage, and Viper's Pit on Icebox, on defense, on point A can really shut down that approach. But Butler is not so easily phased. Icy finds a beautiful, disgusting pick onto Nisei to get things started. And DePaul is 4 strong. Jelly, the only one on A site really right now. One is behind the toxic screen, but the other hole is on B, ready for this rotation. Dinosaur has that op active.
Here.
And 4Z does find the jump peak, but a recon bolt goes awry, not finding much more information than that. A shock bolt is going to draw a Dinosaur behind yellow, though. And now, Dinosaur is going to start getting converged upon, but that's why Sago is there to help out against the crowd. Icy goes down next for the 4, and Dinosaur and Sago still have control of the site. Firsty and Ghosty head-to-head, face-to-face. Firsty wins it out. Dinosaur from afar can take Firsty out with a Headhunter. Still trades across the board, but Jelly's left his Viper Pit long enough for the A side to potentially be open yet again. Oh, barely, though. Able to get back in time. 4Z still holding down B site. This is so awkward. Oh, 4Z finding Sago between the scaffolding. Jelly will see Odin inside, and Lemon's the only one remaining, so Jelly can find that finisher too. There's not going to be enough time to plant this spike down. No way that 4Z can get back. Just going to remain in the middle, save, lurk, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be another DePaul round.
I don't always play Icebox, and especially when I do on the attacking side, I decide to split my team up into a 2-1 split, leave the attacking side with the spike into a Viper's pit,
That works.
and leave my Sova for some reason sitting on B. Insert Dos Equis meme here. I don't know why you pulled that one off. That's a questionable decision there for Butler. It's 2 rounds in a row where they probably had a better opportunity of winning, yet just did not. And that's not a good notion for them. I'm sticking with my fact that they're going to win this map based off of that 4th round win. But DePaul are bringing this one back and making it a little scary in terms of my gambling debts. Now, granted, that was a gamble with my words. It's not going to cost me anything other than pride and prejudice. But Ghosty, I still think Ghosty needs to find frags in order for this to be a real attempt at a comeback.
Yeah, Ghosty needs to start delivering in order for DePaul to be really taken seriously this game. Butler doesn't necessarily have as many credits, but they still have the guns, and they also have a lot of ults to keep them up. Ghosty, attempting an updraft, but Ghosty can find not only the first, but the second kill on their kill feed. A third now. Ghosty will finally get traded out, but Nisei finishes the sweep, and an attacking Viper's pit from Lemon is immediately trounced out. DePaul looking so good these past 3 rounds. What a resurgence. Look at that bank. Look at their ult economy. Look at Ghosty. He's not even last in the scoreboard anymore.
Look at him. We said he needed to start getting frags. Exactly what happened. I do want to highlight the fact that I was complaining earlier that I cannot have a take in this game. I don't really have a way to influence it. And then Aeon, who was our outstanding producer, decided to say in my ear, you can Caster's Curse it. So that's exactly what I did. Butler University plus 3 rounds in a row immediately after I said they're going to win the game. That's my bad. Zohan decided to Caster's Curse earlier. I figured I'd do one as well. Tenric, I think you're up in map 3 when that ends up coming around.
Right, yeah. When we go to Haven, I'll do my curse.
Cool.
Poison's off.
At least we got it all sorted.
Yeah, not a split push just yet for Butler, and in fact, yeah, they're gonna commit to the not a whole lot of presence. Oh, just that sound felt good. The combination of the toxic screen plus the barrier orb, that sounded delicious. Oh, jeez, dude. I'm gonna be stuck on that for a second, but DePaul is holding things down. Everybody from Butler in this one corner near yellow. First detail winning back only at 46 health, and Odin was about to heal, but Dinosaur, a beautiful snipe out from the back line, and Butler is cut short immediately.
Oh my goodness! And Dinosaur just goes skeet shooting with a pinpoint accurate weapon. DePaul are bringing themselves back into this. Finally, a kill goes back the other way, and Lemon gives DePaul something to look at and be concerned about. But Butler really need more frags, and thus far that just has not happened. An outstanding sonar dart to clear out some space, and a good shot across by Icy. Rendezvous away and looks to gain more control. The shots miss on both sides, as does the shock dart. Forzy needs to get aggressive, though, and needs to find this kill into Dinosaur before they can turn this round around. The spray through is unsuccessful as Lemon will get that spike plant. In goes the sonar. The aggression there from Forzy is immediately shut down, but it's still a 2 versus 2. The spike planted and a completely split retake. It's a pincer maneuver being established by this defensive side. The switch out towards the Phantom, trying to gain a kill back the other way. It's just not gonna happen. The rendezvous is not even required. The tour de force is there, as is Lemon's 3K. Another full house of frags for Butler University in this map and in this series as they re-establish that 2-round lead and finally get a round back the other way.
I give so much of the credit there to Lemon's toxic scream. The way that it was brought down and shot back up whenever Icy really requested it kept so much of Dinosaur's continued pressure kind of out of the picture, and it made that pincer kind of possible to the point where DePaul, or Butler rather, had much easier vantage points. They finally find their round back, which means they're able to get a full buy going yet again. Both these teams, now 8 rounds deep, have found some sort of footing. I think we can finally safely say time to light. This is everybody playing at their absolute best with the absolute best that they can be given.
Spike down.
Icy's just looking to get aggressive, but an opening kill is not going their way. Icy does get Screen's control, though. They're not aware of this. The Hunter's Fury thrown in creates a decent bit of space, but the spike has yet to go down. And with this control, it's good, but it's not outstanding. They have to plant that spike and force the push through. Dinosaur clears that close corner, but dies regardless. It's still that man disadvantage turned back the other way. Sego, however, turns that right back the other way. The Uno reverse card slapped down as DePaul try and keep this man advantage, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Ghosty with a first, looking to get a second, tailwinds away after trying to invest into it. Finds yet another, and with that resurrection thrown through. It leaves Levin in an ace clutch scenario. 5 kills required, only gonna find 1. Butler, that streak, not gonna happen again, as DePaul bring it back to within 1.
It took 2 ults, but man, DePaul made that work so effectively. And Ghosty's starting to pop off. That was a really sick Blade Storm. That double updraft usage to make sure that he's constantly pressuring upstairs. That was just a beautiful way to continue zoning out the opponents, despite how much space they had over them. Beautiful stuff coming from DePaul University. It looks like they're finally finding a grip, but also I don't want to jinx anything because, let's face it, both of these teams have some of the most inconsistent plays I've ever seen in my life. 1 minute they could be absolutely popping off, the next they could be shooting the showstopper right in front of them and still not taking damage, so they go unpunished for their own mistakes. But let's not mull over the past, let's only focus on the here and now. And here and now, 3 rounds away from the second half, we are looking just as even as map number 1.
Ghosty, if they find this opener, it's an awkward position for Butler to be in. They have to find an opening pick in order to be good in a lot of these rounds, and it just has not happened enough since I started talking about them being up 4-0 and probably winning the game. Again, my bad, Bulldogs. That's one is on me. However, Forzy has found aggression through. Jelly still clearing this good toxic screen thrown through, though, and he dies straight through the Ares. Just has a higher fire rate and just more damage put through. The spam ability is there, and the spike plant is down. Viper's Pit popped. It's the third to last round and a half. Might as well use it eventually. The peek around for Ghostly, though, does find a kill. Nisei needs to find more, though, as they continue to push through this toxic screen and through the Viper's Pit. Aggression is still there for this attacking side, but Lemon makes it out of that Viper's Pit and dies immediately. Down goes the VIP, down goes the Viper's Pit. It's down to just Forzy. Has that Hunter's Fury available should they get the final kill required. It's not going to happen. DePaul University tie us up for the first time since the start of the game, and Butler University have had that 4-round streak nullified and turned back the other way.
It's another solid rotation coming from DePaul. The amount of aggression they're able to pull out of nowhere and then immediately pull back again. Their tempo is gorgeous that round. It was their round to play, and Butler really was just living in their world. Now, Butler forced to a hybrid in the penultimate round of this half. DePaul looking to at least get 6, potentially a 7-5 lead here, but either way is still neck and neck, just like Bind. The winner of this map is so unpredictable, but DePaul, they may have found their groove here. Butler could just as easily pull a streak out, and Dinosaur is gonna whiff that first tour de force shot. It's the only ult that DePaul has, but it may just be the only ult that DePaul needs. There's a first pick on first. He does see an elbow or gun or two. Nisei has the other corner, gets traded up by Icy. Dinosaur getting close quarters aggressed by Forzy. Has the no scope with the tour de force. Life no longer makes sense, but DePaul is making this work. 4-2 differential. Icy is now upstairs, but how much more can you do? You got your headhunter. What next? Mayhaps the spike gets planted. Certainly, good sir. Odin with the sheriff is going to cover your fire and get one before Jelly trades him out. And it's Icy versus the world. And the world says die. DePaul takes round 11 and the lead for the first time all map.
Sky is falling. The world's going against him. Feels bad, man. DePaul University up on to 6. As I know, right? It's so.
The world doesn't want to
what
see
did
him
you do to the world?
He's been screwed by the system.
Are you looking at me right now?
Oh, sorry. Hold on. I'll turn him. I'll look at my. Oh, okay. Yes, I am looking at you now. Totally.
I was giving him that stare that that was a decent joke, but bruh, that was that stare. We're just gonna move past it, move on. Not around to the half. Full gun round. Everybody buying everything they could ever want and sometimes even more. Ultimates available only for the Butler side in terms of the resurrection and that Hunter's Fury. With the Owl Drone landing that firebolt, that should be the frag. It is indeed a second attempt. It actually lands on a Sage as well. Down and low. Sego is low, down to 75 HP, but Nisei immediately gets the refrag in towards the attacker spawn. The spike goes down. The resurrection available should they choose to run back and try it. I don't think that's the call, though. You will not have that amount of time with the spike plant, but Odin apparently does not give a crap. Running all the way back will indeed get the resurrection. It'll be a 5 versus 4 retake as soon as they get this res through, but the information should be there for DePaul. They know it's a 4 versus 3 on the site for the time being, but the swing is there. So is that sonar. It finds 3 different tags, and Forzy finds 3 different kills on the round. Odin finds a kill across it. Sego left alone, already tagged down to 70 HP prior, and does not have the healing orb, or at least didn't early on. Butler bring the round back. They use their ultimates to the fullest extent possible, find the openers, find the closers, and even find their teammates back into rounds. Dead even at the end of the half.
Look, I was astounded that Odin was actually going for that res because you were losing so much of your space, and DePaul's convergence was looking really solid for a second. And then that recon bolt came out and everything changed. You got all 4 members. DePaul was just forced to stop in their tracks and say, well, they know where we are. What do we do now? I guess we just have to wait, or we could push in now, but it'll be a really terrible push. And I guess they went for both to some degree, because whatever happened, Butler made it work against them and were able to find the round in a beautiful manner. We're tied back up at 6, heading into the second half. Will DePaul pop off on attack, or was Butler secretly hiding an impeccable icebox defense, or will we just go past regulation this time and supersede 24 that we saw on Bind? Only time and solid teamwork will tell as DePaul begins their first of several attacks.
It's solid teamwork, I'll definitely tell you. I don't know about me. I'm not a fortune teller. We talked about my little crystal ball not being calibrated. Time, unfortunately, cannot tell you in this situation. No way. Dinosaur's going to make it out. Had the rendezvous available, picks up his rendezvous, and backs the heck away. No way you're supposed to stay alive in this situation, by the way. I don't know if anybody gave him the memo, but you're not supposed to be living. Good spray through, but Lemon just does not find the information nor the angle required. A strong barrier orb is thrown through. The sage wall is effective. A full 5 versus 5 retake. Butler now needs to pick up exactly where DePaul left off with strong retakes. However, it's going to be easier said than done, especially with this strong screen up. Icy finds the kill into Ghosty as soon as it drops, but it's immediately traded back by his doppelganger. Icy needs to get aggressive here. The right click may land. It may not matter, though. It's still a 2 versus 3. The man advantage still favoring the DePaul University side, and Jelly playing the long angle. It's Dinosaur with yet another, but it's still 1 left. Icy, not out of this round by any means just yet, but has to find an opening kill to get himself back into it, and as he continues to get flanked between each and every angle, just not going to happen. DePaul University pick up the pistol round, and again, they're looking strong in Icebox.
Something pistol round. Butler going for that retake, packed themselves in a little too accidentally heavily around yellow, and DePaul was able to punish them for it. Just kind of shot blanks into that hallway and was able to find the first pistol round that actually they found this entire series. So props to them. DePaul, nice job. Dinosaur now starting to form a gap in the scoreboard. A more than 2.0 KD at the moment. Beautiful stuff coming from the DePaul native. 7-6, and this momentous round is looking pretty solid from the 2 members of DePaul that were left alive and the plant that came through. Lemon pushing way forward, as you do when you have the lesser pistols. This is, I believe this is just going to be a solid routine to an 8-6, but the difference is it's going DePaul's way this time.
Indeed it is. You make a very strong point on that, right? Icy, getting peeked around, is hit with that recon bolt. Again, we're seeing information gained early by DePaul. That means they could just push. They understand nobody's here, and with the barrier being thrown down, the Sage Wall again is effective, and again, it will be a post-plant. Dinosaur is peeking around, is actually detected on that flank, even without the trademark against him. It's actually sitting in front of him. It was his own. Icy now looking to get aggressive with that rendezvous, needs to find a frag. Doesn't, but also stays alive as he backs away. I don't think the healing orb's available, though, so he should stay low. He actually dies even before it's able to be thrown through. Goes to the peek around, finds yet another. It's a flawless second round win for the DePaul University side. They continue with their reign of terror on their opponent's map pick, extend their lead now to 2, and have a full true bonus round in this third round of the half. If Butler lose this, I'm not liking their chances.
Like, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm not going to give my own personal opinion on it yet, but I want to know your opinion on B defaults in Icebox, because DePaul just got away with it twice. I have no doubt we'll see it again at some point, because if there's one thing that Sago has been consistent with this game, it has been the Sage barriers. So I want to ask what your opinion on B default is with the Sage barrier plus the toxic screen, and like as a spectator, what are your thoughts on it?
I think it's a stinky, dirty strat and should never be viable in every round because it's just not fair. However, I think it's a very viable attacking strategy if I'm a player. As a defender, I hate to play against it. As a spectator, it's very consistently boring to watch. However, seeing it done well, just like right here, may be perfect. It's not done well, however. They have to wait for that barrier to solidify, and it'll cost them the round almost certainly because of it. Yes, it's early to call on that, but the spike being down means they actually, wait, they retrieve it. What? They're able to walk away.
Yeah, you're able to pick it up just barely beyond that barrier. It was behind it, so you still have blocker to cover. And also, thanks to that poison orb set up by the Viper, who's always there to cover that Sage's tracks, it's still a lot easier to pick it up and go for a re-rotation. Despite that, though, it's still going to be difficult for DePaul. And after all, this is a bonus round, so it's meant to be a little bit difficult. Jelly and Lemon are going to get kills all by themselves for the Vipers, and Lemon finds a second one through mid. Odin is going to try and cut off Jelly here. It does see a little glimpse of him, but not going to find anything. And for good reason, Jelly is the one holding the spike. Has to be especially careful. Ghosty pushing back to B default again, and now that the toxic screen is up, DePaul or Butler has no idea that they're there. Oh, Lemon catching the sight line, but no damage.
Poison orb emitting.
Toxic screen will go down. Ghosty has enough cover, and the poison cloud will come back up. Jelly just me able to get this plant all by his lonesome, but first they gotta take care of Lemon, and they will! It's gonna be a plant behind the building this time with just over 5 seconds to spare, and the Viper's pit to complete! This could still be DePaul's round! Odin enters and fails, it's just down to Firsty!
He's got the flank. Jelly seems to be relatively aware of it. He's still looking in this general direction. The peek through by First cost him his life. He peeks through and dies immediately. A bonus round win. Jelly, go pick up the rifle. Thank you. Jeez. I know you're trying to get aggressive and really happy after the bonus round win, but rifles are important. Shout out, by the way, Dupree back in something major something tournament. Deagle ace. Cool round. Forgot to pick up a gun after. But I digress. DePaul University, a good bonus round. Butler threw it. I'm sorry, you threw it, you had to play together. They didn't, they had the weapon advantage, they gave the 1/2 versus 1s, and just should not have. You have to play with your teammates in that situation, or you lose. It's exactly what happened.
DePaul now facing up against such a weaker Butler, but we've seen how much they can do. Take flight. With a thrifty round before Icy, an impeccable headhunter shot on a Ghosty, post, updraft, tailwind. That combo can get a little stale eventually, but the default is still open. Despite that, though, DePaul is going to push the DePaul default. God, I hate myself. It's a slower push from DePaul, as it's a 5v4.
Why do we pay you to talk about games again?
I don't know, man. I just work here. Odin, a lone defender in a very precarious position, but has already set up a lot of utility to at least slow things down. Oh, Nisei has the shot of a lifetime on Jaworski, just sauntering through mid. Dinosaur at 4 health at some point for some reason. Who knows anymore? Sago founds the pick onto Lemon, and now DePaul has the lead back, just barely though, and they still need to find a place to plant this spike. It's almost as if the rotation on a B site is read before DePaul even decided to make it. That healing orb, though, is going to give DePaul a lot more ground to work with, as well as our trusty friend, the Toxic Screen.
30 seconds left.
Arc darts them through. It finds absolutely nothing, unfortunately enough. But this time the wall solidifies before they try and plant that spike. That means it will go down. It's a little safer this time around. DePaul need a round win here. They cannot afford to give Butler exactly what DePaul earned in the previous half in terms of a round they should not be able to pull off. Nisei, the peek around, looking to drop Icy, who's just doing that jump peek around the corner in order to bait out a shot. It's not going to work this time around. Jelly should peek around and find this kill. No, it's Nisei to take that torch and DePaul to take double digits on their opponent's map pick on match point in terms of games. And Butler can't afford to lose this.
And 4 members stayed alive for that. Yeah, you would need to call a timeout for this, because if Butler loses out on this, then, I mean, that's enough momentum to get you to a match point. Really. If DePaul wins this, then there is an easy trail to a 12-6 at any stage. DePaul has already afforded themselves so much, winning all 4 of the rounds so far on this half. Their attack is looking so solid. Even in the moments where it looks like they faltered, they just come back even stronger. And now there's a tour de force that Dinosaur can use too. Of course, there is a tour de force on the other end as well, so we may see a little op-off. But the difference is DePaul has set themselves up so much more, and they have so much more behind them, including an extra 4 rounds of collateral. And also, a team that is much closer to their ultimates too. Hell, Jelly is probably already very close to the Viper's pit again. DePaul, really, the one thing we kind of ratted on them for was inconsistency, but we have seen anything but that this game.
I want to talk about consistency really quick because you just
Go
brought
for
it
it.
up just a little bit.
Mhm.
Dinosaur, 20-9 on the chamber. At one point, it was 19-9. I definitively recall a chamber on the previous map going 19-9. I don't remember which one it was. I just remember a chamber going 19-9. So there's consistency for you. Chambers are nuts. Best agent in the
Yeah,
game.
good job,
I will not
Chamber.
be taking questions.
Good job,
Thank you
Taylor.
for coming to the TED Talk.
Woo!
Oh!
All right, bye,
Apparently
Icy.
the only person that can take out a chamber is another chamber. Dinosaur dropping Icy. No tour de force for you, my friend. Forzy actually shoots the owl drill before shooting his opponent. F and chat for him, my friends.
That's a fun little approach. And that's just like the comms from DePaul also just coming into play. The coordination to make a jet slow down so they can go behind an owl drone, that takes a lot of control and a lot of babysitting. Good job, DePaul. It is a trade-off, though, as one chamber will fall and so will another. One cannot live without their counterpart for long. So DePaul's attack is stalled. Ghosty is going to actually hold down 2 defenders here on A site while the rotation through B long will commence, but oh, we got somebody waiting for you there. Toxic screen, of course, set up on B site, but I mean, the rotation is, I think, present enough already. Lemon's laying in wait towards yellow, and I think it's just a waiting game. Oh, Ghosty finds a pick on a Forzy, actually, and that's going to prompt the rotation right back, as now you only have Odin left
30
in this same
seconds left.
precarious spot. Buddy, have you learned nothing?
If they don't find this kill, I think the round's over. No,
Oh.
Odin does find 1 kill. That's a good start
Spike
back into
planted.
things. But Butler need more. First, he finds exactly that, more. But there's a flank being set up. If Sago can push before Ghosty dies, you're in a perfect position. Ghosty is getting overwhelmed, has to watch multiple angles as they continue to back away.
Player
Odin
standing.
finds another kill, but Sago has gotten here, and in time. Peek around, though, first he was aware of it. The situational awareness of that jet to peek around through the flank is perfect for Butler to come back into this, their first round of the half. And what a way to do it.
There it is. That is what you needed if you're Butler. You just need to be better with your guns. And that's exactly what Butler did. They were better with the peaks. They were more ready with the aim. And they killed just a little quicker than DePaul did. And it led to them taking a round. Now, 2 ops in their arsenal. Butler does have the credits to succeed here. DePaul, though. The tour de force is on the way for Dinosaur. Rifles across the board. The Knife Storm is here. The Hunter's Fury is there for the retake prep. Butler has some even ground, but they need to complete upon it. And they need to continue to do so to find the win here, or else we are not heading to a map 3 at all. And DePaul will take this home in yet another 2-0 sweep. DePaul beginning their descent into A site yet again. Ghosty heading up the front line.
Ghosty swinging around, needs to find that kill and doesn't. Has to now back away. Odin trying to get aggressive as a Sage, no less. Battle Sage, as the kids say. It used to be Battle Mercy, and then Sage became a thing, so now it's Battle Sage. I don't know about the call here for DePaul. There's no real definitive answer to what their attack is looking like. They don't have enough mid control to justify a split onto either side. They don't have enough B control to justify a rush, at least not just yet, especially considering there's a quick rotate coming back the other way, considering the fact that Firsty's walking all the way towards the back of main, but Firsty has now been stunned out. A good dash across, but he's been detected a second time. A strong owl drone is perfect as Firsty falls early. That baits out the entirety of the rotation, and considering the longevity of that Hunter's Fury, the fact that it has such a long range, aka almost infinite across a lot of these maps, that means the entirety of the A site has now fallen. So, however, has
30
the
seconds
mid
left.
control for this DePaul attack.
Get out of my way.
However, as I say that, there's still a flank being set up. The spike goes down. The retake is being established. However, it's being shut down where it stands. Lemon from behind should be taken out. However, is dinked down to about 30 HP. Nisei, however, finishes off exactly what they started with a 3K no less. DePaul University 2 rounds away from closing things out. 1 from match, series, and grand finals point here in the EGFC Power Series.
I'm sorry, Nisei was the main character of that. That Hunter's Fury call out on the tailwind from Firsty was so dirty. And then the flank through mid that eventually caught too. I mean, Nisei was in so much control that game, found so much power, and look at this now. Icy has to judge for this round, and Firsty is going to be forced to Blade Storm. I mean, if Butler loses this, then it's just about over.
Just win, forehead.
Just land
win
your
your
shots. Just land your shots, lol. Just be good. Just be good for 4, 5, 6 rounds at this point. DePaul cannot score again if we want to hit that same scoreline. Avoid overtime if you are Butler. DePaul on the verge of taking this in 2. Around yellow, Lemon is bolted. It's gonna take a second. He's gonna snake bite the default plant spot, and 100 Fury to put a stopper on this attack for now. Misses every single shot, though. Are you nuts? Collectively, DePaul. Barrier is stalled enough to fall, though, but Ghosty finds 4Z in the process, and so slowly but surely, both sides of this default push are becoming very, very shattered. Oh,
at this point, run and go A.
Oda with the res, and the Viper's pit too from Butler. There's too much present on this site for DePaul to attack it, and because of it, they're going to be on the run. Only 2 members left, one of which is Dinosaur holding down from mid. Odin has the sideline down though, but Dinosaur, oh, what a shot! Is Icy going to contest next? Nah, Dinosaur is going to book it. It's a 4v2. The Viper's pit must be abandoned, and DePaul is going to plant this spike.
Unfortunately, the Resurrection is just not viable in terms of a possibility to utilize in this round. It will not be used unless somehow Dinosaur dies and there's an opportunity for Sego to use it. However, this is still a relatively easy round to pick up in terms of raw fragging power. Dinosaur has been fragging out through and through this entire game and this series as a whole. However, the flank has been set up quickly at that. First, he has to clear directly below them, and it just has not happened just yet. The gun barrel getting in his way. There's no way timing goes against him. The shot, however, Dinosaur swinging across. He's directly below you. Look down. Sego dies. Firsty, an outstanding flank. Butler, the round they needed. As they lose that, they probably lose the map. In tandem, that's not what happens. They are still in this fight.
Butler clinging on to life yet again. Still 3 rounds down, but this is, as always, quite feasible for this team. They have the ability, the utility to carry through, and now they have the guns fully online. DePaul still has a cushion of credits. Basically 2 or 3 rounds worth at this stage. I mean, honestly, DePaul is basically going to be fully kitted for the remainder of this regulation game, if I'm being completely real. And so Butler is going to fight a full force DePaul every single round at this point, but they are starting to get their number. They're starting to get a grip. 2 rounds won in the past 3 by Butler. Could they find a third?
They're pre-prep. Oh my goodness, this is such a smart idea. When you pre-prep that, you expect a default on towards B and the barrier orb to be thrown through. If you pop that poison cloud with enough time to flank it properly, you can find so much control. However, with your flank being shut down, that's a lot of your staying power on that far site gone. There are 3 players waiting in towards B, especially with this B site control taken. They could bring this back. Icy, exactly the catalyst you needed to do exactly that. But it's still a 4 versus 4. This round is far from over here.
I mean, Butler had the perfect amount of confidence there. Icy just recognizing, hey, I'm probably just better. And rotating, proving that. Lost a bit of health, but did win the gunfight, and that's massive, because that, again, will slow down this default push to the point where, hey, there's no barrier to protect you. All you have is this toxic screen. So there's not much that DePaul has to work with for this push, but regardless, it is what they're going to opt for, at least to start things out. B-side is a lot more vacated than I think DePaul may have thought, and it's going to lead to Butler having the time to rotate back. Nearly everyone present at this stage, as the yellow site will begin to get overtaken. Toxic screen goes up, which means Butler recognized it is time to move. Lemon gets the first pick onto Jelly, holding that. Dinosaur rotating, finding Lemon, and Ghosty able to find Icy. It's trades across the board, and it's now a 2v2. Shock bolts from 4Z, neither will really land. Gets a bit off of Ghosty, and 4Z, what a turn into Ghosty! Now Dinosaur taken on 4Z, and 4Z
get out.
Wins the peak war. What a beautiful approach from Butler to retake that site. And they cling to life yet again, 11-9.
They're still in this. Butler are still in this. They are threatening a third map. They win this next round. Again, it breaks the bank of DePaul and forces them onto an economic save. Meaning, it almost guarantees 24 rounds as a requisite to this second map of play. However, if DePaul win this, Butler still have a negligible buy in the following round. It'll be SMGs, plural, probably a single upgraded pistol, and maybe a rifle. That is best case scenario. You also will have the Tour de Force available,
Yeah,
however,
I
not
see-
Bladestorm. Not
Icy
good.
will have the Tour de Force and then be able to buy a rifle for somebody else if they lose this. So Butler is definitely not out of it, regardless of whether or not they lose this round. They've created that amount of collateral for themselves because of the past 2 rounds that they have won, but they still need to deliver. They are still the team that's behind. They're still the team that's fighting for their lives in this bracket. Ghosty immediately going to rush in, gets barriered up, and so Odin has the drop on him, but now the rest of the rush comes in. Forward goes the entire squad of DePaul, and Nisei wins out somehow. Another shock ball. Icy trying to get the drop, does succeed, but he's on scraps. But there's only one member of DePaul left. All of a sudden, it's Dinosaur and is going to get surrounded. Butler out of nowhere hitting double digits, and DePaul relegated to a save.
This almost certainly constitutes 24 rounds. However, looking at DePaul's money, it's not as much of a save as I thought it was going to be. But they also know they don't have the advantage in terms of that economy. 3,500 credits available for Nisei. That means almost certainly an SMG, maybe a Vandal with lowered shields. Not a position you want to be in, especially on the attacking side, considering the fact that you're the Sova and you need to buy utility. 3 ultimates available for the attackers, 1, that being the Tour de Force, a lethal one at that, for the defensive side. DePaul, win this, you break Butler, lose it, and you break yourself, almost certainly giving Butler a 12th as well.
It really is all down to this last, to this 22nd round. So much riding, so many consequences coming from either side, depending on what goes down. DePaul has had so many B defaults shut down these past couple rounds. He's been forced to rotate, change their strategy over and over again, and Butler has been able to get the drop on them because of it. DePaul has to stay focused and keep that Sage alive. Not just for the barrier, but for that res. That'll come in for that post plant really effectively. Hell, throw another body in front of it. Let Ghosty go in first, and honestly, let Ghosty die before Sago even really has to work. Firsty, the other Jet, is going to hop in first with that operator. Get really close and personal with this long push. Ghosty, terrified to push him. And Owldro not catching him out. And Firsty with the flick that might save Butler's game. Ghosty falls, 4v5. But Sago's going to find the res. Go back to even Stevens, except Firsty isn't there for the party. Jelly will trade it out. Dinosaur finds Lemon 2, and we're at a 5v3 all of a sudden with 4 ults online still. Everyone pushes for free. Forzy waiting behind Yellow. The trigger discipline might lead to a backfire as he whiffs every single shot. Sago's gonna plant. Jelly's gonna Viper's Pit. Forzy finds 1 pick, but that is it. And Butler up a creek without a paddle due to the simplest, littlest things that they are unprepared for.
No way. I refuse to believe that's how this one may end. DePaul University are going to win this. They have to save the rifles. There's no way you can constitute a push here. DePaul just do not have that broken of an economy to push this and justify it. However, that Tour de Force is being thrown through. Icy trying to find the kill is unsuccessful in doing so. It's Odin left alone. Uses their healing orb and gets back up to about 80 HP as soon as that does dissipate and take over. But they'll have to push straight through and die as they do so. Butler University face match series, grand finals, and EGFC Power Series points here on Icebox.
DePaul, the team that we've praised so heavily, save for the fact that they are so prone to making the tiniest mistakes that can lead to the biggest of consequences. But it's Butler that falls to the tiniest mistakes in the biggest round of them all. DePaul is at match point for the next 2 rounds.
Get out of my way!
Standing ahead.
2 attempts at it.
Ghosty has that Blade Storm to get things started. It's a very forward A push. Every corner checked. DePaul so prepared to take this home. Call it a series, call it a bracket, call it a championship. Ghosty, 1 Blade Storm hit onto Firsty, who once again has that op prepared. Owl Drone heading down the front line, will not find anything, and Forzy's gonna back out for a moment. They have faith in Firsty, and honestly, I would too. Kid has been outstanding on this operator. Has just been stopped a little too early, particularly in that previous round. Icy, manning long too. So the two pushers on that end will hear the recon bolt. Has to rendezvous so they don't get caught out by it. And it's reset after reset. Eventually, DePaul's going to have to rotate through. They only have 45 seconds to do so. This waiting game will not win you the round, DePaul.
They look to aggress though. It seems to be A as the call. The Hunter's Fury thrown through. It doesn't tag up anybody. Nothing gained out of that ultimate, but Jelly finds the opener regardless. In goes the Bladestorm, trying to find this pick. Jelly finding that first kill is pivotal, and Ghosty follows up with one of their own. Onto 1 HP. The healing orb's available as well. They can build off of this, but Icy gets the kill across onto their doppelganger and brings it back to just a one-man disadvantage. The entirety of the DePaul University side has vacated the site proper. There's a flank being set up, 2 witting in towards A main, and the detection. It is there. Down goes 4Z. The lineup is there as well, along with that poison orb. That may just be the round.
Oh!
It is indeed! First he dies to the poison cloud, no less. The snake bite combination was there, and DePaul University win 13-10. 5 rounds the deficit between the two squads, between 2 maps. I called it 5 or 6 rounds. If it was going to end in 2 maps, that's what it was going to be. That's how they win it. 2-0, 13-11, 13-10. Doing better, ironically, on their opponent's map pick, no less. That's how Butler pull it off.
We end it with a snake bite rollout. DePaul
Wow.
are your EGF Valorant champions. Hey, whatever the way they pulled it off, they pulled off that championship. They proved they are indeed the better team, squeaked out enough rounds against as formidable an opponent as Butler University. Big congratulations and props to Butler University for making it as far as they did. But the biggest of congratulations to DePaul University when we return an interview with the winning team. Welcome back, everyone, to the EGF Powers series. I'm Tenric. With me is still Time to Light, and with me as well is Sago from DePaul University, as well as the entire Valorant roster. Sago, I know you guys have played so much today. You guys were on a bit of a time crunch in where exactly you guys were, but you busted through all of those games and then edged 2 out against your opponents in Butler. How are you guys feeling?
I mean, we're on top of the world right now, man. You know, um, it's been a rough season for us. We've been having some issues, and I think that we really pulled it together in the end. And I'm proud of all the boys.
And not a single map lost through not only this bracket, but you guys were very consistent in winning your games through the prelims as well. That's one of the main reasons you qualified as the top seed coming into this. Not only your consistency, but the fact that you played in all 3, if I remember correctly. Now, building off of that, in this game specifically, this final map on Icebox, that start, it wasn't great at all. How'd you build back?
Well, I mean, coming into Icebox, this isn't really one of our maps, and we know that Butler plays it a lot. So we were just coming into it like pretty relaxed, honestly. We were thinking this is just a throwaway map. Let's pug it out. Let's have some fun. Keep it light. Like if we lose, doesn't really matter. We got them on Haven. So we started down, I think 4. Yeah, and like it wasn't even a matter of it wasn't a matter of tightening up or anything. It's just we were just playing our game, having fun, and once people came online, like it showed on the server.
Notably Dinosaur, whose actual MacBook you're on right now. Yeah, you're nuts, by the way, on the chamber. The consistency was insane between the 2 maps. How did that consistency help you, not only throughout this bracket, not only throughout this series, but throughout the entirety of the season here in the EGFC Power Series? What was consistency to you guys?
I mean, I think that's a hard question. First of all, I think the consistency for us was just like sticking to our guns. Honestly, like we would run scrims, and honestly, lately we've been scrimming a lot less because we're kind of breaking into multiple other teams for the summer. But consistency for us was just like making sure that we nail home the points during scrims that like we need to work on, and not taking it lightly, you know. And Dinosaur, I mean, specifically, this guy's all aim, no brain, but he was going off. Let me tell you what, I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him. You know.
Great stuff to see that entire match, Sago. Is there any sort of messages, thank yous, shout outs, anything that anybody from DePaul has to or would like to say before we all call it a night?
Yeah, I've got some shout outs really quick. First of all, I'd like to shout out the whole team. These boys are awesome. I feel like we built a really nice community and a really nice work ethic amongst our program here. I'd like to give a specific shout out to Nisei for being just an incredible IGL. This guy, give him a year and he's going to be a tier 1 IGL. This guy's insane. I'd like to give a shout out to DPU Courtney for putting all this together. Shout out to DPU Courtney, you're the best. Give us some money next year. I'd like to give a shout out to Captain America Women's Basketball and EGF Power Series.
An odd combination of shout-outs from Sego and the entirety of the DPU roster. Both congratulations and thank you so much for the interview.
Can I talk my mess really quick too? That'll be very, very nice.
The
I'm
floor is
30.
yours.
I'm 30 and y'all lost to an old man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Wow. Wow, you guys got smacked by boomers.
Jeez.
Oh my goodness. Well, boomer singular. That feels bad, man. Bulldogs get wrecked. Thanks so much for the interview, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Do I have to say anything? Do I... He's 30. Wow. Final thoughts, Tenrek, before we send us out?
What a bracket. What a journey for all of these squads. The fact that it's finally come to an end for all of these collegiate teams as we have neared the end of the semester, the brackets, the series, all of it. It has been a wild, wild ride, but what a way to end it off. What a great duo of teams to clash at the bitter end. And it really is a bitter end, but it is also so sweet to see such a great conclusion. But beyond that, it's great to see everyone come together here at the EGF Power Series as always. And as always, it's great to cast with you, Light.
It was a thrill. I think the last time we casted was during Nationals with Rocket League. I just casually invaded your stream. Apologies, but it was very fun. I got to trash talk Migs while I played Rocket League. I didn't get to do that today, by the way. Migs was relegated to the other stream where they got dropped by DePaul. But that's going to do it for us on the evening. A massive thank you to our production team, Promo, alongside Aeon, They're both awesome. Give them a follow on Twitter. I don't know what their Twitters are off the top of my head. I think Aeon's is Aeon's a head or something like that with an
Yeah.
underscore in the middle. But
like that.
Tenrec has also been amazing, as have these teams. DePaul, not a single map lost throughout the entirety of this bracket, and the consistency, as I said during the interview, there throughout the prelims just the same. But that's going to put a cap on the EGFC season as a whole. We move from possible 30-year-olds playing Valorant to just teenagers playing throughout some other titles when the EGFH Nationals catch up with us in just a few weeks between June 19th and I believe June 21st. Catch them on twitch.tv/EGF High School, along with all of the EGF officials throughout twitch.tv. We'll see y'all then. We'll see the high schoolers then. Hopefully, we'll see you alongside down in Disney World, no less, at the ESPN Wide World of Sports. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for sticking with us through the entirety of the EGFC Power Series. I've been Time to Light. That's been Tenrec. Again, Aeon promo in the background. We'll see y'all next season.